I won it! Wow, I was not expecting that. I had to run a trailer for this job. What have I done? Alright, well, before we get too deep into the thick of it, I wanted to talk to you about today's video sponsor, Moinkbox. Now, this is something I'm really passionate about. I'm sure most of us here have seen the numbers, seen the random stats out there, but it's pretty crazy when it comes to our food supply. I've almost kind of given up hope on finding a way to get just real quality meat that was raised the right way, outdoors and regenerative farming and all these things without getting this junk. I mean, to put it in perspective, 80% of the antibiotics that we have here in the US are fed to animals. 80% of basically the meat industry is owned by 4 companies, i.e. large corporations. Corporations love to put profit over everything else. I've just seen the difference, and I personally in 5 to 10 years. And the problem is for farmers, for the standard farmer, rural American farmer, which is who Moinkbox uses, our average farmer has 40 acres, around 40 acres, like small rural farms. The problem is most of those farmers normally have to have a separate job just to make enough money to continue farming, which is also a job and not an easy job, So first I want to say a huge thank you to all of you who are farmers, because I can't imagine how hard it is, and it just seems to be getting harder, and the rural family farm is getting pushed out. And I speak for myself, but I'd much rather eat meat that was raised in the circle of life kind of way from a small rural American farm than this junk crammed with antibiotics. So anyway, that's what Moinkbox does. You get real quality meat, rural American farms, delivered to your door. I can tell you, but you gotta try it. You taste the difference between bacon from a factory farm and a real bacon that was raised how you would wish all of your meat and animals are raised. So I could jibber jabber on and on about this. If you're interested in trying it out, getting great quality meat while supporting rural American farms, go to moinkbox.com/TaylorRay with 2 R's to get free wings for life. You go right now. So it's a great deal, and you get free wings for life, which of my favorite foods, buffalo chicken wing. Didn't enjoy it anymore until I got some Moinkbox wings, and we're back. I got my sauces mixed up and everything. Anyway, I said it's just tough. Passionate about this. Moinkbox.com. That's MOINK box.com/TaylorRay right now. Free wings for all. Huge shout out to the farmers that keep food on our tables. So speaking of work, we have a lot of work to do. Not farming, but still a lot of work. So let's get to it. Oh my gosh. This thing is an absolute monster. took a gamble on it, did not expect to win. I initially had no interest in buying one this large. One of the larger compact track loaders you can get, which was trying to find one on the small side of the normal side. You know, you have kind of the minis, like the ASV RT25, RT40, the Bobcat S70. Those are kind of meant to fit through small gates, you know, in backyards of really tight residential areas, that kind of thing. And then you have just your standard compact track loader, range from 7 to 8,000 pound machines up to 13, 14,000 pound machines. This is the second largest one Bobcat makes. I ran through about 40 or 50 of these things, all different brands, makes, models, conditions, features, and this was the one that I was sold on the most, and I just so happened to win it. I really did not expect to. I popped in a bid early at my number of what I was comfortable with, kind of the gamble on it, that it could have some deeper problems that we don't know about. Crazy thing is that there was another one of these which had slightly lower hours. This one does have 4,100 hours, the other one had 34 or 35, and it was in way rougher shape. A lot of things were broken and didn't work. Pretty confident it had a blown head gasket. I was really interested in buying that one because I assumed it was going to go cheaper than this one because this one was in nice shape. But that one, I ran it for about 10-15 minutes and it overheated. I checked the coolant, and it seemed to have milkshake coolant, oil in the coolant. So, and someone paid the exact same money that I paid for that one. You didn't see the episode where we went and looked at a bunch of these. It's probably worth watching just to see the different machines. But if you did watch that and you're interested, the Cat 59D3 that had 2,900 hours, I had a feeling it was going to go for money, and it went for 35,000. So I won this for 25,000, and that one, it went for 35,000. So I thought that was interesting. I got my predictions pretty right. And then the third one, the little ASV Mini, which had 2,700 hours, which is a lot for a little machine, went for 13.5. So that one went for around where I would have wanted to be into it if we had lost this one, which I expected to do, but we won it, which is exciting, also a little concerning, because probably some gremlins that we haven't found yet that we will find, but we got a shop, we got tools. If it breaks, we'll fix it. I'm happy with it at its core, and that's kind of what it boils down to for me when I'm buying anything used, is would I be comfortable putting money into it? If it's something where it's super beat up and I'm only happy with it because it's working, then if it breaks, it's like, so yeah, let me give you guys a tour of this, because I got a couple projects I'm ready to start on as soon as I quit jibber jabbering. So I give you the specs, tell you the features, you know? Thing pretty cool. This is a Bobcat T770, second largest compact track loader they make. Skid steer is the more common terminology, but skid steer technically refers to one with tires. Basically, the only difference is the tracks. But I was totally, wholeheartedly against buying one of the larger machines because I have a relatively small property. But the projects I need to do could really benefit from a large machine. Now, the other thing is these smaller machines get eaten up with hours a lot faster. One, they're not built as heavy duty as the larger machine, but also they have less power and just less capability. So if you have 90 horsepower and a ton of capability, you're probably not using every last ounce of that capability all the time. But if you've only got 900 pounds lift capacity and 35 horsepower, you're probably going to be using all of it all the time. They're living at the top of their capability range. That's it. Okay. A couple things that surprised me that I did not realize that this machine had. One, high flow hydraulics. Pretty much everything comes with what's called auxiliary hydraulics. It's funny because it's always listed as a feature, even though $5,000-$7,000 China mini skid steers have auxiliary hydraulics. It's pretty standard. But basically what these are is for your attachments. That's the reason I wanted a skid steer specifically, is they are the Swiss Army knife of equipment, construction equipment. You can get an attachment to do almost anything for a skid steer. I mean, you could probably get an attachment to braid your dang hair if you wanted to. But literally, I mean, you can get a concrete mixer, you can get a bucket grapple to grab stuff, you can get an excavator backhoe with a swing arm, you can get pallet forks, you can get mulchers that just shred forests. Like, you can literally get an attachment to do just about anything, and those attachments tend to run off the auxiliary hydraulics. Now, with high flow means it has a higher flow rating. It's rated in gallons per minute. So on these machines, the standard flow is like 23 gallons per minute, which is a pretty good amount. But there are a lot of attachments that require more than that. And in high flow, this machine flows 36 gallons per minute, which is a lot. It's on the highest end. It's on the very, very high end. Now, what that means is that our market pool, if we do decide to resell this, is less limited. Because if you need to run a high flow attachment, doesn't matter how good the machine is, if it doesn't have high flow, it's not going to work for you. So it just opens up our buyer pool. I'm surprised it wasn't in the auction listing, because that's a deal breaker for a lot of people, is if it doesn't have high flow, and it has high flow. Another thing that was cool is suspension seat. It's completely functional suspension seat. Another thing that wasn't listed that I noticed when checking the machine out. It also has heated seat, which is pretty cool. Unnecessary for me, but the switch is back here, which is kind of weird. But I'm a big cloth seat guy. I love cloth seats. To me, they're just way more comfortable. But obviously, normally a piece of equipment like this comes with a vinyl seat because it's going to get rained on and dirty and dusty, unless you have an enclosed cab. And that was the biggest thing for me, was trying to get a machine with an enclosed cab. And that's where it gets really tricky. You can find some deals on open cab machines. If you want an enclosed cab, starts to get pretty tough. And with an enclosed cab, not always, but most times, you get air conditioning. Heat and air conditioning. So one of the things I liked about the Bobcats is that they put the AC vents up top. The other thing about the enclosed cab, for me, it was all about AC. It's freaking hot in Florida. It's miserable. It rains a lot. A lot of my projects get put on hold in the summer because it's rainy season and you're trying to work and you can't do anything because it's raining unless you just want to get soaked, which then sucks. The enclosed cab keeps you dry, keeps you from sweating like crazy, at least while you're in it. But also, when you shut this door, I don't know if you'll be able to hear the difference, but if I'm talking at this level, you cannot hear me on the outside. It's so quiet in here. And that's really nice because I ran back to back a 770, this one, enclosed and an open. Same with a Cat 259, enclosed and open. And the noise level difference is a lot. Not to sound like a diva, but it is nice to get into a completely enclosed machine with air conditioning to do the work. Because, well, a lot of times you're sweating like crazy, and it's nice to get a air conditioning break. And yeah, in here, you got great visibility. Let me open this door. We got our AC. It works. I haven't tried the heat because it's obviously hot. This thing has just about every feature and option that you can get on one of these. It has the deluxe display over here. So we've got our digital display. We've got, all of our vitals. Over here, we've got our hour meter, temp, fuel and stuff. Our buttons, so it's like our aux hydraulics. And then that's high flow. But it's got the bucket leveling. It's got what's called ride control, which normally if you lift the bucket up, the hydraulics are stiff and rigid. So when you're bouncing in that weight, the weight's moving, it's bouncing. The ride control allows the hydraulics to essentially act almost like a little bit of a shock. So that's neat. It's not something that I cared with if it did or didn't have it, but it's cool. It has all the features. It has the power quick attach, which is definitely, I would say, neat in general, but really neat if you have an enclosed cab, because normally you would get out here and you would pull these levers up and then get back in and maneuver out from under your bucket to switch to an attachment or another bucket. But with this, we just press the button, uses that hydraulic cylinder to disconnect, and then you come out. So we could switch back and forth between a bucket and a grapple or a concrete mixer or whatever the case without ever getting out of the machine. Which, again, is extra nice if you got AC because it's nice and cool in here. A couple other things. This machine has joystick controls. Well, actually, one of the other things it has is the auto idle. So this is your hand throttle, and this is where you set your throttle. Kind of like on a mower, right? Like less, more. But if you're working and then you're stopping and then you're going and then you're stopping, constantly adjusting this would get annoying. So you have a throttle pedal down here. So, you can throttle. That's a lot to keep up with. So the auto idle, I can crank this thing up to full throttle, for example. And while I'm using the hydraulics, it stays there. And then if I stop for, say, 5 seconds is what it's set at, it'll go back to idle. And then as soon as I go to use the hydraulics again or go forward or whatever, it bumps that back up. So that's a neat feature. That is one I didn't even realize it had until I got it home here. So another thing, the joysticks. This is a big thing. There's people, it's a personal preference thing, I would say. Most machines, like a Takaguchi, Kubotas, pretty much all the new Cats, they all use this control style. But Bobcat will still sell you a machine default. This is an option, but with hand and foot controls. So you have your 2 sticks like this, forward and back on this one. is forward and back on this side drive. And then same with this one, like a 0-turn mower. So you push them both forward, you go forward, pull this one back, that one forward, you're going in a 0-turn, etc. To make that style work, generally you have to have foot pedals. So to do your arms up and down, you have a foot pedal, and to do your bucket tilt, you have another foot pedal. Pushing with your toes or your heel to go up or down. Now, another interesting thing Bobcat does, they have a control pattern switcher. So there's ISO and then there's H pattern. So ISO is what it's in now, and that's what's pretty standard. And I like the ISO controls. So all of your drive functions are here. So forward, back, left, right. That's all here. And then a combination if you want to go forward and right a little bit, or back and left. That's all this one stick. And then all of your bucket and arm control is here. So arms up, arms down, bucket down, bucket up. Basically, this is all that. That's all your drive. But yeah, joystick controls, that was a big thing. You got all your buttons for your attachments. So then this thing also has 2-speed. So you've got slow and fast. You've got the what's called creep. So you can kind of set, like if I'm grading, I can set a max speed and then just stay full throttle and it'll stay a consistent speed. One of the things that I really liked about this machine in particular, this model, this make and model, not this machine, is that I feel like it is the highest capability for the size and weight. Now, by comparison, a lot of the 8,000 pound class machines are close to 9 and some even dipping over 9,000 pounds operating weight. And their operating capacity, what they can carry at 35% of their tipping load, is like 2,to 2,100 pounds. This machine is 10,300 pounds. So it's only about 1,000 pounds more, but the operating capacity is 3,500 pounds, which is way more. 90 horsepower. A lot of the other machines that are in the 10,000 pound range are 74 horsepower machines. And speed-wise, it doesn't really matter, but I mean, can't say I don't like speed, right? A lot of the other 2-speed machines of this weight class are more like 8, maybe 9 miles an hour. This one will do almost 11. So yeah, coming around to the back of the machine, again, I felt like the machine was really clean, and that almost turned me off at first, because I thought if someone had to go through the trouble to clean it, maybe it was really bad. But some of the things, like the door, this door shuts nicer than any of the other machines I touch. It's not been tweaked or bent or twisted. These handles normally get beat up. They normally get smashed into by something. There's not a single dent. The roof. There doesn't seem to have ever been anything that's, you know, smacked this in and bent it. The glass up here, you look at the whole roof and there's no, you know, big dents or dings. So it doesn't seem like anything got dropped on its head, which is good. All the pins and bushings in the front end were really tight. And then the engine bay is really clean, which again would still fall in line with someone cleaning up the machine. But one of the things is the tailgate. Most of the machines across brand, I mean, these get smashed into things. This one shuts like very low effort, and it opens very low effort. And the hinges, these normally are tweaked on used machines with a couple thousand hours, straight as can be. If you look throughout the entire engine bay, everything is super clean. I've taken all these panels off because I was checking the coolant and everything, but you know, these look brand new. They're not caked. They don't have a bunch of bent fins. The stickers are still on them in nice shape. So as far as I can tell, it does appear, I'm sure it was cleaned up before the auction, but it does appear that prior to that, it was taken care of, from what I can tell. But you never know, and that is the gamble buying something used. You can buy something used with 1,000 hours and someone never changed the oil on it. You know, it's just a gamble. It's something I think we all struggle with, but you're kind of gambling no matter what is the way I look at it. Because if you buy a new machine or a new truck or car to get a warranty, you're still gambling that they're going to honor the warranty. I bought a very expensive Ford dually, only vehicle I've ever financed. I've always driven, you know, POSs just to get by when I had to, instead of financing anything. And the only vehicle I ever financed, the fuel system blew up 10,000 miles into me owning it, and they tried not to warranty it and said I got bad fuel. It's a gamble kind of, I think, any which way you go. Just depends on the scenario, right? If I'm using this to start a business and make money, I think it would almost make more sense to buy a new one. But I wouldn't be able to buy one of these new because this machine, new, starts at like $88,000. And I'm pretty sure that's without getting enclosed cabin AC, the deluxe. With these options, you're looking at over $100,000 machine if you were to go buy this brand new from Bobcat. This is a 2021. They still make these to this day. They did a slight redesign of whatever, but still $100,000. So we got it for like a quarter of what it would be new. You know, at that point, that's that gamble. Jibber jabber. That's it. That's the rundown of the machine. Oh, another thing about this size machine that benefits us, it has an insane lift height. It has over 11-foot lift height, which is a lot. A lot of machines are 9 or 10, which is good because one of the attachments I want to get is a man bucket. I want to make one for going up and trimming trees. Or I'd like to get an old scissor lift, cheap non-running one, put a new hydraulic pump with a wireless remote in it, basically weld-on attachments. And then I could use this to take it anywhere in my yard. It's locked to the machine, so it ain't tipping over. It's never gonna tip this thing over. And then go up and trim my trees, because that is something I need to do a lot of. And it is expensive to get all my trees trimmed, because I have a metric ton of them. Go out there, trim the trees, come down, quick detach, grab the grapple, pick the stuff up, move it, pile it, put it in a dumpster, dump trailer, whatever. So there's a million things we can do with this machine. You can just do so many things. So speaking of doing things, let's go do some things. One of the main things that I couldn't do with any of the mini machines or even the smaller scale machines is moving my container. I have a 20-foot back there. First off, it's all crooked. I need to drag it back. I'm gonna get the wheel set up for it. So I put wheels on one side, lift the other side, pull it out in front of the shop, empty it out, cut a door into it, repaint it, all of that, and then reposition it back there. Get a second one, do the same thing, and position it in a way that you couldn't get a delivery truck to. In the meantime, just to try it out, I'd like to see if we can shift it back straight. And that's something that's been bugging me for years, so go try this thing out. Just a small amount of the overgrowth that I need to take care of. I also never use this trailer anymore, hardly, so. Overheat. I'll let it run for a few minutes while I went inside. even though I'm going to be moving this container out and doing a bunch of modifications to it and repositioning it and doing stuff to this area, definitely couldn't resist the urge. Perfect project to test this thing on. This at the auction is when you're at high RPM for a while, higher RPM, the AC tends to stop blowing cold. This is so baller. The only difficulty here is to chain it. We've got to chain it to the back corner because we need to pull that back corner. But without removing all that vegetation, which this thing is entirely capable of, and don't get me wrong, I was tempted, but I don't want to remove that vegetation until we have the next container ready to go in there because it'll basically act like a privacy fence. So, you know. Oh gosh, it's so hot. AC is nice. Let's try this out. This is why I couldn't get a wheeled loader. I would be stuck. Really, the only thing we got to work on is the AC thing. I'm going to try to fix this up some. With this being a pretty tight area, one of the tighter areas on my property that I'll have to work, it's definitely a fine line between, you know, turning and shifting to do the grading and smooth it out, but then when you turn and shift, you're kind of making more work for yourself, inevitably. Well, I gotta do some fixing on that, but I wanna get this AC running better. Things a beast. See, the compressor just cycled on. I don't know why it cycles off. The container is now straight, finally. Thing's been crooked since I got it, because the dude who put it in did it with a truck. I might need to come back a little more, I lied. It's pretty close. It was like way crooked before. But it lifted it no problem, so I don't think we'll have any problem with forks getting the back up to get wheels under the back. Then we'll lift the front here and we'll drag it out, do our stuff, take everything out of it, and then push it back. And then the other one I want to put in here sideways, so we might have to do that one first to get around this tree. But anyway, let's pull this thing back in the shop and tinker. I just had to use it. I'm really glad I did, but it's a beast, man. It's a beast. Move that container like nothing. Shoot, talk about good timing. Pouring now. But we still could have worked in the pouring rain. We got AC, which actually isn't working great when you're using it. So I really want to figure that out. Because when it was working, it was nice, man. You get in there, it's cold, you're working, you're chilling. Humidity here, man, it's brutal. And then this situation, it was pouring down rain. We could have finished what we were doing if we hadn't. So loud. To get to all our AC stuff, we gotta tilt the cab up. Pretty cool, man. You can see everything in here. Come take a gander. Got our different hydraulic stuff, wiring harnesses. Oh, it's pretty clean in here, I'll say. So this is, oh yeah, that's caked with dirt and mud. That's probably part of our problem. Yeah, the drains are clogged. Definitely not helping our cause. Alright, well, I got those laid out. But yeah, so this thing is definitely full of water, and these little drains were caked in mud. So I literally used the rain and got the mud out. Now it's draining. That could be our whole problem, but I pulled this cabin filter off. Gotta pull the other one. Yeah, that one could use, they're not bad, but they could definitely use some cleaning. So could the plenums. Being that these things work in generally the dirtier environments, the AC systems get pretty dang taxed, and that dirt turns to mud clogs the drains, the condensation drains, and we have a lot of condensation with AC systems here because it's Florida and it's humid, which is part of why I really want AC. So got as much of the water cleaned out, as much as the dust cleaned out, tons of dust and water buildup. Try to make this thing operate more efficiently, get better airflow through it, better airflow through the evaporator. Everything's going to work better. So now it's just a matter of hooking up the AC lines and trying to not crush them while I tilt the cab down, because we got to fire this thing up and let it run for a bit to do our pressures. So the low side was going just a bit low, which is kind of what I thought or was hoping, because if it was a high side problem, the high going too high, then something's blocked. Low side, we just add Freon. I mean, obviously that means there's Freon's leaving. We just don't know how fast, but we're trying to get it up just enough to where the compressor will stay on, but not too much so it turns off because it's too high. It's a balance. It was at this moment I knew I messed up by taking the door off. I took it off just to protect it, but taking it off with these quick releases, they're meant to get out in case of an emergency, so they kind of like fall apart. And yeah, it was tricky to get it back on, but a little finagling and we got it. Put it back together. Yeah, I'd like to go run it again, try to finish cleaning up that area a little bit and just see how the AC does. I'm a little worried that I may have overcharged it, just because once I unhook the gauges, they read a little low. I have learned with AC, you think more is not better, always, when it comes to Freon. If you're too low on Freon, you'll hit the low cutout, where the low side will get too low, and the compressor will click off, let the pressure rise, and kick back on. Inverse, if you have too much Freon or not enough airflow over the condenser, the pressure will get too high, and the compressor will click off until the pressure comes back down. So either or means the compressor is going to cycle more, which means your AC is not going to get as cold. So trying to find, at least on older stuff or simpler systems, this is a pretty simple AC system. It's probably about to rain again, but we got a cab and we got AC. That's all we need, baby. Far so good with the AC system. Normally, you know, after a few minutes, especially if you started running at higher RPM, because the compressor's working harder and it's pulling the pressure down lower, since that's what our problem seemed to be, the AC would cycle off. So it's working good. We got AC. It's raining a little bit. We're staying nice and dry. Honestly, I wanted to clean this up, needed to clean this up, but I'm also admittedly having fun playing around. as I said, I'm just having fun with this thing now. You know, I wanted to put the AC through a good test, and you know, this wasn't quite perfect yet. Not that we're gonna get it perfect, but you know, it could use some more work, and not a bad excuse to play with the new, use the new piece of equipment. Definitely really grateful for this cabin AC while it's raining, you know, having the windshield wipers, just keeping it nice in there. It's awesome. You know the AC's crispy when in Florida with the humidity, your glasses fog up immediately. Couldn't help myself going back out again. But yeah, the AC seems to be staying ice cold. It might actually could use a tiny bit more, but overcharging is just as bad as undercharging. We'll see if it leaks out. But I mean, it was the same from when I first looked at it to now before I topped it off. So it's like, that's over a week. And then however long it was sitting at the auction lot, you know, it's like even if they topped it off right before. So hopefully it's like if it does have a leak, it's a really small leak or whatever. Thing two, I do still need to check the tracks, the track tension, mainly because I was worried about that. Those cover plates were both open when I looked at this at auction. And I'm like, I don't know if someone just looked in there and just left them open, or they tried to grease the tracks up to tension them more and they didn't, and there was a problem. I don't know. I'd like to figure that out. I would like to get a smaller bucket, but I'm torn. It's just this because it's so powerful, it comes with this 80-inch bucket. It's even wider than it is, and it's just it's a pretty big bucket for trying to do the more intricate work. But honestly, it works fine. We'll see. I got to decide what attachments I want to buy versus rent. But I mean, it's also, this one's it's a really nice bucket. It's got one dent there, but I mean, it's in really nice shape. It's got that nice cutting edge, removable, and it's nice and sharp, which is good for doing the grading and stuff. So, yeah, I'm just, man, I'm having so much fun. I cannot tell you. Man, running it back there, woo, I'm stoked. Because, I mean, that's like the tightest area of the yard. So, you know, and it was fine. But anyway, yeah, I'm happy with it, man. I had the heated seat on the last bit there. The wiper, using the features. The other one of these that was at the auction, the wiper didn't work. And I was like, it doesn't matter. I don't need a wiper. But it's helpful when you're working in the rain. And it was nice to be able to just keep working in the rain. Obviously, you can with an open cab, too. You can. You can work with an open, obviously. But it's like, if I'm going to get soaked and I don't have to get it done right now, then I'll just wait till it's not raining. But it gets annoying because it rains for 10 minutes hard and then stops and then goes and stops. So being able to just work through it, pretty freaking nifty. So I don't know. I'm just, it's so fun. So cool. I can't wait to dive into more projects with it. But speaking of, yeah, it's obviously not going to live in here. I've just been tinkering with it. I need to put it out back. I set up my passcode and stuff, but I've got truck upgrades to do, waiting on spacers. That's the last thing. Got tires, got a bunch of stuff to the tow pig. Got trailer upgrades, got a bunch of stuff for that. I'm gonna build a cool cart with go-kart tires to pull behind the thing with the toolbox that's in there, airline track, batteries for the inverter AC system. I got shop upgrades because need to finish setting up these. I got a bunch of tooling for them, which is all here. Started setting that stuff up, you know. So I need to set these up so we can start milling and lathing stuff. I got a power door opener I'm gonna try on the one door. I got property upgrades though too to do that don't really involve this right now because I started them before this. I'd like to finish that, so maybe we'll do that next. I'll jump back on that, get it wrapped up, and that way we can, have the property effectively ready for when we have time to start working on the projects with this. I'm like eager. I want to just rip up my gravel driveway right now. But it needs to be, dug up and regraded, and then a whole new layer of gravel added down. I do intend to concrete that at some point. But I think for now it'd be nice to just go ahead and gravel it, especially going into rainy season. So lots of stuff, man. Projects out the wazoo. More projects than I got time to do out the wazoo. but I'm not complaining. I'd rather have too many projects than not enough. It keeps me busy. It does keep the mind going, but we got a compact track loader. Let me know what y'all think of it. Yeah, I'll see you next time for whatever the heck we end up doing. Got a lot of different things to do. I'm excited about all of them, so sounds good. I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you next time. Oh man.